Welcome back to the Oddpal YouTube channel. I've owned the Timex Q quartz with the Coke bezel for a bit over 2 years now, and today I want to give my honest review about the watch and also starting with unboxing it first. I'm wearing the Tudor Hydronaut reference number 89190 while I'm doing this unboxing. And I bought this watch back, I want to say a year after all the different color variations came out. If you haven't been around for that long in the watch game, this watch first came out with a blue dial and a Pepsi bezel. I wasn't a fan of that, but I do like the Coke bezel as I really want a 16710 GMT-Master II, and this is surprisingly the only watch on the market to this day, starting from back then and to this day, matching the criteria of looking like a 16710 with a similar, I want to say, build quality, thickness, weight, everything. And as you can see here, I've put it back in the box with all of the previous plastics that it came with. I decided to just slap it on, so it looks more like a unboxing despite me having this watch for a while now. I don't wear it all that much because I have a lot other automatic watches that I usually wear. This is actually one of my only quartz watches that I have in my collection. The other one being the Casio F91, and also I have a Momentum C quartz that a friend gifted to me. This watch though definitely gets the most wrist time out of all of them. I usually wear it while I'm out golfing, running, doing any sort of contact sport. Because it's a quartz watch, I'm not afraid of knocking it around or breaking it. And overall, it's a very beautiful piece, and I really love like the whole dial and bezel configuration. I think, even though this bezel definitely does feel a lot cheaper than like a proper aluminum bezel. I'm not even gonna say Rolex because Rolex is leaps and bounds ahead of what this build quality is, but the overall feel, like when you're looking at it dead on, it just feels correct. Like this just feels like what a aluminum Coke bezel should look like. And the dial configuration too. I really like how the lume is painted on directly onto the indices that they printed out. You can see the faux luminova coated on top of where those triangles and circles are originally printed. I just feel like it really gives off that look of a 16710 that I have been chasing for the last couple of years. And having worn this watch for the period of time that I have, there's a few things that I really love about it and a few things that I don't like as much. We'll go ahead and get started first with the dimensions. So it is a 38 millimeter in diameter watch by 12 millimeters in height. Of course, you factor in the domed acrylic crystal, then it really sits more about like 11 millimeters height, which is pretty thin, especially for a watch with a functional bezel on it. The water resistance isn't something to write home about. I think it is 50 meters, so yeah, splash proof, but it is a quartz watch, so I pretty much wear it near water, no problem. The lugs, I believe, is 18 millimeters. I gotta do some more checking there, but you won't really want to swap straps on this just because like you can see the lug distance here is actually not that wide, I want to say. Like usually when you want to change straps on a watch, you have like longer lugs that protrude out, so it doesn't look weird when you put a strap on. But the fact that the lugs are kind of hugging each other on the bottom but flush and flat on the top means if you put a strap on, it's just gonna look weird and it's gonna start like here. I don't know if I'm doing a good job explaining it, but basically if you get this watch, unless you get like a very specific Seiko style steel bracelet, you don't want to be putting a leather strap on this watch because it's going to look kind of weird. One very important thing I omitted to do during the unboxing was to show the card that came with it. It's not really much of a card. It's like an operating manual. Here you can see user information, blah 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 blah. I mean, it's a quartz watch, like why would you even read this, right? But it's just cool to have some sort of a paperwork with the watch, despite it not really functioning like a paperwork or even needed for that matter. But there's a compartment at the bottom of the box now. Also, you have this flavor text here. First released in the 1970s, the original Timex Q gives a new generation of modern watch with quartz technology. A natural evolution of our much-loved Q Timex 1979 reissue, This adds bright pops of color to the iconic features of the original: a rotating bezel, woven stainless steel bracelet, functional battery hatch, and domed acrylic crystal. The things I really like about this watch is, number one, it looks like a GMT-Master II, and it really is, I think, the closest comparison in the market right now that has that GMT-Master II look that isn't something too crazily out of priced. The only other example that comes to mind is if you go on Watch Experimental Unit, WMT's website, they have straight up GMT-Master II homages. And then, of course, you can get GMT-Master II other homages on other less reputable websites. But as far as the mass market offerings go, as far as the Swiss made makers go, there really isn't a brand that's delivering the look of the GMT-Master II, and I think this watch is really the only option in the market if you say really want a 16710 but just don't have the budget or the means to get it at the moment. Then I would highly recommend this watch for you, as it did the same for me. The second thing that I really like about this watch, let me just put it on quickly actually, is how well it wears on the wrist. Now, just kind of teasing ahead to one of the disadvantages or things I don't like about the watch is sometimes it still pulls my hair after even 2 years of wear. It's not as drastic of a problem that I realize as people mention as far as the bracelet goes. Like, the bracelet is actually very comfy, and overall it feels very light, but at the same time very sturdy as well. You don't feel like the crystal's gonna pop off. You don't feel like, the whole thing's just gonna come apart. It is very robust built, and at the same time very lightweight, very similar to, I want to say, my Rolex Oyster Perpetual 36 in terms of heft and kind of how it wears. Of course, the OP's Oyster bracelet is a lot more comfortable, but like, this bracelet, quite frankly, is not bad. The only time that I feel my hair getting plucked is actually from the battery change slot. Like, this thing, you see here how like where this battery hatch connects to the case, like those little creases sometimes plucks my hair, as well as like the creases that connect the bracelet to the watch, to the lug. These are the main culprits of like when I feel my hair getting tugged. But as far as like the back of the bracelet or like even the clasp, like those aren't really issues to the wearing experience. Yeah, there you go. And then I'll get into the second thing I don't really like about this watch is the time changing mechanism. It's very, very hard to get like a very exact time when you're setting it. If you go on Timex, which is the website that shows you the accurate time, and you try to, like, let's say, okay, I'm waiting for the seconds to tick to 2 p.m. Right? Just ignore the fact that the second is currently at the 15 second. But if I want to press it in here, you can see that when I press it in, the minute hand moves a little bit. Let me try it again. So let me say switch it to the 5-minute mark. Okay, and I'm gonna say press it in. You see, it moves a little bit. So that always happens with this movement, unfortunately. And it usually takes me about 4 to 5 tries when I change the time on here to get the time correct. Not that I changed it all that much, but you see, like I haven't even pressed it in yet, and the minute hand's already moving. Let me try again. Okay, yeah, I moved a little bit too. Not that I changed the time on this all that much, but when I do, like, let's say I travel back and forth and decide to not use my GMT bezel, that is an issue with the watch. And yeah, it just takes a bit of patience. I mean, it's not like you're setting it all the time anyways, but that's just something that you might want to know about the watch if you decide to buy it. Another great thing I want to mention is the bezel. So it is a frictional bezel. There's no clicks or anything, but the rotation itself feels very comfortable. It doesn't feel like there's no like crazy backplay or anything. It is very I keep using the word robust, but it really is. Like, you feel like the bezel hugs the case very well, and maybe that has to do with the material, the black material that they use just under the aluminum bits. But it feels very robust, and it's easy to turn, easy enough, both directions. And if you have it, say, set at like 11, like if you're going like this, you're not gonna knock it around unintentionally. So I really like the bezel construction. Now let me talk quickly about price. I think in Canadian, this watch is $249 Canadian. But you can sometimes find pretty good deals on the watch. Sometimes they go down to 220 bucks, sometimes even less, or you can find it on Marketplace. There were some comments in the beginning when this watch first came out about people complaining that Timex is overcharging for these watches. They don't think it's worth it. But quite frankly, I think even for 300 Canadian dollars, which is the full MSRP plus tax, like you can probably find it for cheaper. But even if you are to pay that $300, this watch is amazing and it does the job that you need it to do, especially if you are a fan of the GMT-Master II. There's just nothing that compares to it, and I think that the price definitely is justified. Unlike the moon swatches out there that have just terrible build quality, the things are falling off. Like this watch, nothing is gonna happen to it. You can wear it to play basketball, play badminton, to go running. Like it's just gonna stay the way it is, the way that it's supposed to be. Also, an interesting thing that I found. Today is the 25th of February 2024. And when I was doing research about the watch, just checking out like the exact dimensions and such, I went on the Timex website and the code configuration is no longer there alongside with the spread configuration. I'm not sure if the website is having a makeover or something's glitched. Like usually with these retail watch websites, like things aren't usually right. But it is interesting. I'm not sure if they discontinued it or if they're going to come out with a V2. But if you are looking to get a Coke GMT Timex right now, you have to buy it from non-Timex websites. And I don't think there's a premium on them just yet. But it's just something interesting that I want to point out. I don't think there's going to be a crazy explosivity in terms of demand and pricing in the upcoming years, because Timex is a company for profit. So if they realize that, hey, these things are starting to go for 350, 400 bucks, they'll probably just re-release another batch. But yeah, this has been my 2-year ownership review on the Timex Q with the Coke bezel. I really love the watch, and if you are needing a quartz watch in your collection that is analog, I would definitely recommend picking up the Timex Q. Thanks for watching this video to the end, guys. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.